Hey guys, welcome to episode 15 of Ask the Agent. Excited to bring this content to you today. Today we're talking about if you don't have your buyer sign this, somebody else will. And those are buyer agreements. You know, in some states these are required, some states they're not. The county where we practice, the state where we practice, they're not required. But I think it's super important that today's agent is getting these, even if it's not a requirement. You know, most of us are busting our tails out there to get through the entire process. And these agreements are very important, or you can be spinning your wheels. So, got one of our rock star agents, Brittany Theroux, with us today.
Hi.
Thanks for being with us. And we're going to just kind of talk through that process. And I'm going to start with why I think most people aren't getting them signed, and I think they're just fear of rejection. It's the same reason why a lot of these agents are not picking up the phone and making phone calls is because you're going to get a lot of no's, right? And if you're getting a lot of no's, maybe you're not really providing the value. If you're just meeting a client for the first time and you're going, hey, this is agreement and you're going to work with me for the next 6 months, I don't know that I'm signing that either. There's got to be some value proposition to it, and it's got to be good for both sides, right? So talk about, you know, what are you doing? You first meet a client, that first interaction, and then what are you doing from there to get them to sign a buyer's agreement?
Well, with our typical clients who have either it's been a while since they've bought a house or it's their first time buying a house, we like to sit down and have them in or meet them somewhere for a buyer presentation.
Yep.
We talk about the whole process, financing, inspections. We help them with financing. We get them to our top lenders, introduce them to our top attorneys, other people in the office that will work with them throughout the process.
Does it have to be PowerPoint presentation? Is this over coffee? How are you doing?
It could be either way. It really depends on the client. We have a certain PowerPoint that we go through and just go through the points, but also it can be at a coffee shop or whenever
on the fly
is comfortable.
Yep. So, all right, you're meeting the client at a showing first. You're doing it right there. You know, talk us through that process.
I mean, generally it will take about an hour. So you want to meet somewhere besides at a showing. You don't want to hold up somebody's house for an hour, but sometimes it can happen after the first showing if they want to go see a house that they're really excited about, and then you need to explain the process to them, meet for coffee afterwards, and go over what they're looking for. And the whole buying process, which is very, very intricate. So
yeah. And I think the needs analysis, right, is a big part of that.
Absolutely.
Not just, you know, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and price point. Like, there's a lot that's going into it. Why are you buying? What's the time frame look like so that we can really get to understand that client, how much time it's going to take, when we're going to really start to get serious, so that when we're trying to come up with an agreement that works for everybody, we're both on the same page.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right, so you've gone through the process, you've proved your value, you get them to sign the buyer's agreement. What's next?
I mean, if you have a list, you do the needs analysis. So there's a list of properties that meet their needs, could meet their needs. You go out and you see what they look like in person, because properties are very different from what they appear to be online.
Yep.
Once you go through that inventory, say nothing really meets their needs that's out there currently, then you've exhausted the current inventory. We don't just sit back and wait for properties to come on. So there's different strategies that we go through. We have coming soon spreadsheets in the office where all of our 70 agents post their coming soon listings before they're actually on the MLS. And so if something meets your client's needs, then you can reach out to them in advance and maybe even offer that property to them pre-market.
And if you're at a smaller brokerage or on a small team and there's not a lot of that opportunity, you're going to have to go outside your agency, you know, and find out who the top agents are in your marketplace and tell them, look, I got people that are desperate for this specific type of property. We've exhausted the inventory. Do you have anything coming?
Right.
You know?
Right. You can go through the expireds or canceled, withdrawn properties, reach out to the agent who had it listed, see what the deal is. If those agents either are not on good terms or unresponsive to you, you can actually go out and door knock those areas, even if it's just neighborhoods that my clients like. I would be willing to go out and specifically door knock, see if anybody is interested.
If you're not comfortable with door knocking, you want to use technology, you know, there's sites like Intellius, which is like the white pages on steroids. So get a subscription to something like that and look up the phone numbers and contact the people on the phone. You know, you can use your local public records to try and find somebody, maybe through social media. Anything that you got to do to put your clients into an opportunity where they can pick up a new property. All right, so we talked about going on coming soons, maybe even look on sites like Zillow where they've got stuff coming soon. You can go on to for sale by owner sites, right? So that stuff is not going to come up in your normal MLS search. So you've got to look outside the box there. What about neighborhoods and the Yikes mailer? You want to take people through our Yikes mailer?
Oh yeah, so if somebody's looking for, say they're looking for a ranch in Long Meadow and under a certain price range, and it has to have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and actually go through public records and find the properties in the neighborhoods that they want that meet their needs, and mail a Yikes mailer that says, "Yikes, we have buyers looking for inventory in your market. Have you had any thoughts of selling?"
Yeah. If you mail enough people, even if those properties don't end up being the right house for your buyer, maybe end up with a listing on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about building relationships in this business.
Yeah. And that's a key thing too, is those relationships. We're in a weird industry where we're competing against agents, but at the same time, we need those agents. And so these are those things that you've got to be talking about at a buyer's presentation. That you're going to go above and beyond. And this is, if I'm going to take the time to do all these things, because this is not a 5-minute operation, then I need some commitment back from you, the buyer, that I'm not going to do all this and find out that you went to an open house and bought a house through somebody else.
Right, and it's not like we charge for our services. We're just asking for loyalty.
Yep.
So,
Yep. So
and we would offer the same in return.
Yep. So exhaust yourself. Door knock. Use these websites. Try and find inventory. We're in our marketplace is a very low inventory right now, and we've got to think outside the box to try and put our buyers in a position to win.
That's right.
Other key things, make sure the communication is good. If you're having them sign an agreement and you're going to be dedicated, you got to hold up to that dedication. And in our business, unfortunately, I know everybody likes to say flexible schedule, but it's nights and weekends. That's when most people are going to want to be able to go and take a look at some properties. And then the final thing that I would add that you should be talking about in these buyer presentations is that we're going to be a real estate resource. This is not just a transaction that we are going to help you through, but we want to be a real estate resource during the transaction. That's the right inspectors, the right lenders, the right attorneys, and then after, right? So most people are going to do something to their house after they buy it. So we'll have access to the best contractors, roofers, electricians, painters, handymen, etc., to really help facilitate these people even post-closing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome job. Guys, hopefully you got a little bit of information out of this one and how important that buyer presentation can be, and that if you are going to really deliver the value, you shouldn't have a problem getting people to work with you and sign an agreement to get committed. You're taking time away from your loved ones, your families, to do this job and to do it at some off times when other people get to spend that time with their family. It's not that much to ask in return to get a commitment from your buyers. So hopefully it helps you to get a couple of more buyer's agreements signed. We will see you next week, Thursday, 3 o'clock. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, I can be. Whoa, boom, boom, man, zippity zoom. Love is sweet, love is man, works one. Beep up and zippity hop. I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom, boom, man, zippity zoom.